Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you are watching Boyd News. Want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got a ton of huge news to brief you all on today. So today's date is June 1st, 2025, and it's Sunday. Surprise, surprise, guys, I am here. As many of you know, I'm usually not here on Sundays. It's my allocated day off each week. But we had massive news coming out from Russia today. I had to jump on here and share this information with you guys. So let's start off with this story here on your screen. Ukraine launches Operation Spiderweb, attacks Russian airfields. An operation by Ukraine's security service, known as the SBU, using first-person view FPV drones smuggled deep inside Russia and hidden inside trucks, has hit 41 Russian heavy bombers at 4 airfields. So, massive operation that was carried out today, guys, and you heard that right. At least 41 planes confirmed to be either struck or destroyed. These were including Russian Tu-95MS long-range bombers, Tu-22 long-range bombers, also apparently, or even potentially, several A-50 airborne early warning and control planes, okay? These are like intelligence planes, radar planes that could have been hit as well. We'll talk about the several airfields that were targeted. This was video footage coming out from Ukraine's SBU showing this attack being carried out on one of the airfields in Russia. You can see a lot of their strategic bombers on fire here. So this is crazy, guys, what happened. This is potentially 30% or more of Russia's strategic bomber fleet. Okay, so huge hit today. We're going to talk more about this and give you guys more information. We also have reports that there's been 4 bombings that were carried out on the Russians as well on some of their trains and railway systems. So several bombings in the Kursk region, also Bryansk region of Russia, trains being derailed over there. Also a strike carried out in Melitopol in Ukraine. This is an occupied territory, southern Ukraine. Another strike on a railway system over there causing a derailment or destruction of a train. Also up in the Murmansk region near the Olenya Air Base, which is one of the air bases that were attacked. This is like far northern Russia. We have the city of Severomorsk, okay, and apparently this is home to Russia's nuclear submarine fleet. Massive explosion reported over there, so could we see a nuclear submarine being destroyed as well, as we have huge explosions and what looks like maybe even ammunition that was detonated over there. So just a massive operation being carried out here over the last 24 hours, guys. We're going to go ahead and jump right into this, start talking about all these details. I've got a lot of videos to show you guys coming out from Russia like what you see here. So let's jump on over here to Clash Report. New Ukrainian SBU's Operation Web took 1.5 years to prepare. Ukraine's SBU spent over 18 months planning the massive web operation that struck 41 Russian strategic aircraft to date. President Zelensky personally oversaw the mission, with SBU Chief Vasyl Malyuk leading execution. Sources say the complex logistics involved smuggling FPV drones and mobile wooden cabins into Russia. The drones were hidden under remote-controlled roofs on trucks. When triggered, the roofs opened and kamikaze drones launched toward Russian bombers. SBU insiders stressed that all operatives involved are already safely back in Ukraine. Any arrests by Russian authorities will likely be staged for domestic propaganda. Okay, so just something to note here, guys. Want to let you know up front, this story is still unfolding right now, so lots of details are going to keep changing, but we're giving you some of the latest right now, and we'll probably do some more updates later on tomorrow or something if we get more information on these strikes. But these were pictures coming out showing Ukraine's SBU, their security service. They were preparing for this attack. You can see all these FPV drones lined up here. This is how they station them inside these cargo trucks, and right on the tops of these trucks is where they'd have these roofs that would be remotely controlled and moved off to the side, and then these FPV drones would launch and attack the Russian airfields. So what a massive operation here, guys, and so smart for Ukraine to do this. And this is coming from a country that has a very small air force, very small navy, if anything, and they were able to carry out these strikes deep into Russia. I mean, some of these strikes were carried out 4,000 plus kilometers into Russian territory. Okay, so it's crazy what happened today. Here's another good picture showing these FPV drones that were loaded onto these trucks just prior to being deployed onto Russian airfields. Military news to UA now. Operation Spiderweb was personally led by Zelensky, and everything was planned for over a year, according to Financial Times. Yeah, so that's what they were reporting today. That's where that information came from, that apparently it was led by Zelensky directly and planned for a year and a half. Okay, so that's crazy. Now we've got some information here from Conflict Dispatch. Final map of the locations of the web operation by Ukraine's SBU in Russia. Okay, so these were the different air bases that were confirmed to be hit. Olenia Air Base in the Murmansk region, Belaya Air Base in the Irkutsk region, Ivanovo Air Base in the Ivanovo region, Diaghilevo Air Base in the Ryazan region. Then we have Severomorsk, okay, the main administrative base of the Russian Northern Fleet in the Murmansk region, okay, so that's up here right next to the Olenia Air Base, actually. That's where we had those explosions, and potentially could we have had a nuclear submarine being damaged or destroyed over there. We'll see what happens here in the coming hours. So they had some other information here I want to show you guys also. It says some reports a strike at a 5th Air Base, Voskrensk, if I'm saying that right, in the Moscow region, but only one video and no geolocation exists so far, so I can't confirm it right now. I'll have that video for you guys in just a moment. Might update the map later. Others say it's only a small airstrip or training site, not key for military aviation. So that's not confirmed that 5th Air Base, the Voskrensk, kind of hard to pronounce, guys, could have been attacked as well. And then also it says right here, clarification, images showing SBU plans with target locations do not include any facilities in Severomorsk. Therefore, the map below provides a more accurate depiction of where strikes actually occurred. Additionally, the 5th intended target was the Ukrainka Air Base, but the strike there was unsuccessful. So yeah, apparently another air base. That's why I was saying potentially 6. We've got these 4 confirmed up here. And then also potentially the air base in Voskrensk in the Moscow region, and even Ukrainka Air Base, which I think was farther in eastern Russia, that could have been attacked as well. But according to this information, they're saying the strike was unsuccessful, and no sources so far have confirmed that the Ukrainka Air Base was attacked as well. So for sure, we know 4 air bases being attacked, like it states up here. Then we have this main administrative base of the Russian Northern Fleet in Severomorsk, where the nuclear submarines could be stationed, and maybe we had one being hit over there, okay? So now let's move on to Vicegrad 24 breaking. Ukraine launches the largest attack against the Russian Air Force of this war. Drones smuggled into Russia have struck Russia's strategic bombers at airfields deep in Russia, up to 40 planes destroyed, including several A-50, AEW, and C. That's Airborne Early Warning and Control, and Tu-95 and Tu-22 long-range bombers. So this is the video that I had for you guys on the waiting screen. We'll just pull it up on the big screen here for you just for a moment so you can see the destruction of a lot of these aircraft. I mean, at least 2 or 3 that we can see here in this video were initially struck at this air base. Now, this video coming out, I don't know exactly what air base this was that was being hit, but definitely was one of those air bases that we had listed for you in that previous post, okay? So now from a Ukraine battle map, the biggest strike of the entire war for Ukraine, targeting Russian terrorist bombers over 4,400 kilometers from Ukraine, launching X-101 cruise missiles at the entire country for over 3 years. Tomahawks were needed for this, but Ukraine came up with a solution. Olenia fully destroyed, okay? So we've got a couple of videos here. Let's start off with this first one. We saw the second one here, but I'll show you the 3rd and 4th video. So let's jump into this first one here. All right, so this got to be one of the best videos coming out. Look at this one on fire right here. Soon after this second, what looks like a Tu-95 MS bomber being hit, also right there on the wing. And if you notice, they're targeting the wings a lot right here. That apparently is one of the locations that they were striking the most on these aircraft to destroy them. And I might remind you that these aircraft cannot be replaced, okay? Russia's not producing these anymore. So this is a massive hit. You can see here a lot of these being destroyed. So we've got couple more videos we can show you here. Let's jump into this third one.
Смотри, что творится, я не знаю даже, что это сейчас взорвалось.
Это, наверное, диалект.
Okay, so what you're watching in this video is a Ukrainian FPV drone flying over to the airbase that is already on fire. And again, we don't know exactly what airbase this is either. A lot of these videos just coming out sometimes are not showing which airfields were being targeted at the time of the video. But nonetheless, we can see that FPV drone heading on over there while that base is already on fire. Let's jump into our last video here.
Оце так файно виглядає зараз аеродром Білая. Стратегічна ворожа авіація. Оце так файно виглядає.
All right, just a quick clip here, 7 seconds long, but we can see massive destruction to this airbase. This could be the Balea Airfield, as I've got other videos coming out showing lots of black smoke. I mean, look at all that destruction here to this base, guys. This is a huge strike today from Ukraine. I can't emphasize any further how big this is. So now moving on to Tendar, Ukrainian war journalist Yuri Butasov has summarized the details of the Operation Spiderweb against Russian air bases. At the moment, according to our sources, the destruction of 41 aircrafts of strategic and military transport aviation of the Russian armed forces at 4 bases has been recorded. Some of the drones attacked the target with auto-homing. The results of the strikes will be determined using satellite images. A group of SBU agents reported 150 small attack drones, 300 ammunition to the territory of the Russian Federation. 116 drones took to the air. The drones were controlled via Russian telecommunications networks using auto-homing. Drones attacked from a short distance during the day in the deep rear of the enemy. The air bases were covered by significant air defense forces, anti-aircraft missile systems, electronic warfare systems, regular patrols with small arms, but Russia's expected night strikes by heavy large strike drones, which are clearly visible in the air, and did not expect an attack by small quadcopters during the day. The attack on the Tu-95 strategic missile carrier base at the Olenia base was especially successful. The drones accurately hit the refueled fuel tanks, and a significant number of aircraft burned to the ground. An operation of such a scale with such a colossal economic and military effect at such a high technological level has no analogs in the world. SBU agents successfully returned to Ukraine. Ukraine did not suffer any losses. Consequences were military equipment worth billions of dollars was destroyed. Strategic aircraft, which Russia does not produce, were destroyed. The enemy's strike capabilities are weakened since these aircraft were an important component of constant terrorist attacks on Ukrainian cities. The enemy will have to spend a lot of money to strengthen defense of its bases and facilities. So yeah, imagine how much was destroyed, guys, on such a simple operation. I mean, these FPV drones are roughly about $300 to $600 a piece compared to a strategic bomber that could be over $100 million. I mean, that is just in comparison insane that Ukraine is able to do this and carry this out. And Tendar's got a point here where they state that they're going to have to spend a lot of money just to strengthen these bases. If they want to protect the rest of the assets that they have, they're going to have to spend a lot more money just to focus on defending these bases. So this is crazy, guys. Imagine if Ukraine is not done. This could be just the very beginning of this operation. It could happen again. Now, from NOAA reports, it is claimed that another airfield in the Moscow region was targeted, either Voskrensk, Severka Airfield, or Aviat Center, Voskrensk. Sorry, guys, kind of hard to pronounce these. I might be butchering these. Both are small local airstrips or training centers, and as far as known, do not host any significant Russian military aviation. Needs further confirmation. So this is that report coming out that maybe we had a 5th airbase that was attacked, and we can't completely confirm this video just yet, but it is surfacing online today, possibly showing another airfield in the Moscow region that could have been hit. Take a look. All right, and I will note that this possibly could be one of the airfields that we know have been confirmed to be hit. Maybe it's just another angle that hasn't been able to be fully geolocated to confirm where this is coming from. But again, this could possibly be in the Moscow region. We'll wait for further confirmation on that. But that was talked about a lot today. Now from Ukraine Battle Map, head of Ukrainian SBU, Vasyl Malyuk, reviewing plans to attack Russian strategic air bases with Tu-95 bombers. So this is another picture that's floating around on the internet today, showing Vasyl Malyuk, who is the head of Ukraine's SBU, their security service that carried out this strike. And this was apparently a photo coming out as he was reviewing the strike plans that was planned to carry out this attack into Russia over a year and a half ago. And also, we had Zelensky being involved in this effort as well. Okay, so you can see the picture here of the different airfields that they were going to go after. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 5 were reportedly going to be attacked, but we know for sure 4 were attacked today. These were some of the aircraft, Tu-22s and Tu-95s, that were attacked today. So they definitely went after the targets they were going for. Now for Military News UA, the video shows the same truck from which the kamikaze drones took off. After launching all the FPVs, the self-destruct mechanism was triggered and the car burned down. Okay, so a little bit of backstory on this. So apparently, these trucks were also fitted with a self-destruct mechanism, and there was a video that came out. I can't show it to you guys, but a Russian citizen was going up into one of these trucks, and it was detonated the minute that he walked in. I'm sure he didn't make it out okay after that. But apparently these trucks were designed to self-destruct after all the FPVs were launched, okay, to destroy any evidence or whatever it was they were using, technology in there to carry out this strike, right? So take a look at this.
Ну да.
Ёбаны съездили на рыбалку, блядь. А я говорю, блядь, не на кого? Сколько времени? Ну я там включил на ужин.
Тротил? Тротил?
Так, блядь, это же не в дронах, это...
All right, we'll go ahead and stop it there, guys. So you can see this thing self-detonating, catching on fire. These were one of the cargo trucks that were being used, and Ukraine was just parking them all over the place, basically just open lots that were very close to these airfields. That's when they would launch these FPV drones. Then they would detonate these trucks and destroy them soon after to destroy any evidence. And take a look at this from Ukrainian Review, Russian market. So the stock market just completely collapsing today right after this happened. I mean, this is another major sign. This is a huge hit to Russia. And, you know, they don't have too many of these strategic bombers. So them just destroying 40 of these in one day, absolutely huge, guys. I cannot stress any further. Now from Ozen Defender, 30% or more of the Russian Air Force's fleet of long-range nuclear-capable strategic bombers were reportedly damaged and or destroyed during today's operation by the Ukrainian Security Service, SBU, in what Russian mill bloggers are calling Russia's Pearl Harbor. Yeah, so I mean, you got to think about this too. What is this going to do to Russia? How is this going to make Russia react to this? I did see some reports today that there were air raid alerts happening inside of Ukraine tonight, so I'm sure Russia's going to want to retaliate immediately. And I hope this doesn't lead to something major. I mean, at the same time, this is a great operation that Ukraine carried out, but I'm sure Russia's going to want to respond to this in some sort of big way. I mean, this is a lot of strategic bombers and expensive warplanes that were hit and destroyed. So crazy. There's a picture coming out, one of the airfields on fire. I mean, look at the amount of aircraft here potentially hit. Looks like maybe 2 here, 3 there, maybe several over here, 4, maybe 5. Who knows how many were hit just this one airfield right here. Also, look at this from Nexta. What an irony. Ukrainian drones targeted Tu-95 bombers using AI trained on Soviet planes from a museum. The FPV drones used in the Spiderweb special operation were guided by artificial intelligence trained on strategic bomber models displayed at the Poltava Museum of Long-Range Aviation. In other words, Soviet Tu-95s preserved in a Ukrainian museum helped destroy active Russian Tu-95s stationed at military airfields. Truly symbolic, the Soviet past Putin clings to so desperately ended up helping to dismantle his military presence. Isn't that crazy, guys? Ukraine used these planes that were stationed at museums in Poltava in Ukraine to utilize the AI on these FPV drones to train them which targets to go after. So isn't that crazy? So here's a video here. I don't think it has any sound, but this was a video coming out from one of these strikes on the airfields over here. You can see the AI-trained FPV drone hovering right over this aircraft and then going straight down on top of it to strike it. So crazy video right here. We'll let it roll a little bit longer. And you can see this thing just kind of closing in very slowly. And then if you notice again, they strike the wings over here. I notice they're going after the wings to disable them, so that way Russia cannot fly these things anymore. And they're not going to be able to repair them as well. And think about the sanctions also that are onto Russia that makes it difficult for them to get any like replacement parts. That's got to be a headache for Russia as well. So here's some pictures coming out from the museum showing these different bombers that are stationed in Ukraine. And reportedly, this is the museum that they use to help train these FPV drones with the AI, which targets to go after inside of Russia. So that's crazy. Now for Max 25. Olenogorsk, Murmansk region. Okay, so this is up in the Murmansk region, far northern Russia. So this potentially could be where that nuclear submarine was located at, or nuclear submarine base, excuse me. We'll let this play here. We can see a massive fire breaking out over here, but it could also be the Olenia Airfield. I think that's probably what this is here, because the Olenia Airfield is located up here in the Murmansk region as well, and we know for sure that base was just completely destroyed and wiped out, and a lot of Tu-95 MS bombers are located over there, okay? So that's probably what you're looking at there is the Olenia Airfield. Now for Mario Nafal. Breaking, Ukraine strikes military base in Siberia. First air attack this deep into Russia. Officials in Russia's Irkutsk, region confirm Ukrainian airstrike hit a military base, the first such attack in Siberia since the war began. The strike marks Ukraine's deepest reach into Russian territory to date. No casualty figures released yet. Moscow has not confirmed. Okay, so deep into Siberia, far eastern Russia, guys. This is the air base over in the Irkutsk region that we know for sure was attacked and hit. Look at all the destruction over here. Look at all that smoke. And these were just from simple FPV drones, guys, not these long-range strike drones like the Lyudy drones that Ukraine uses. These were very simple and cheap FPV drones that completely destroyed these bombers at this base too. Crazy news today. Now from Ozen Technical, footage of a Ukrainian FPV strike drone rising from a cargo truck and heading towards Russia's Belaya air base. The drone launch and airbase hit were over 4,000 kilometers from Ukraine. Okay, so the Belaya Air Base is the air base, I believe, located in Irkutsk, far deep into Russian territory. Take a look at this video.
Вот он, коптер опять взлетел. Откуда взлетает, ничего не понятно, блядь. Вот он, клоун, блядь. Оба ни с того ни с сего, сука. Оба! Вот дела, блядь. Ёб твою мать, до чего техника дошла. А нахуя мы работаем за рулем-то, блядь? Лучше он коптером управляй, нахуй, грузовой и все. О, блядь. А, это менты сшибают его, прикинь. Это какой-то пидорас. С автомата очередь, нахуй. О, нихуя себе дела, блядь. Оказывается, пидорас, оказывается. Во, блядь. Менты промазали, нахуй. Ёбаный, он опять туда полетел, сука, в эту гущу, нахуй. Вот еще один, сука, пидорас. Вот он, еще один пидорас.
All right, so we can see in this video this Russian citizen just recording these FPV drones taking off one by one out of this cargo truck and heading on over to an airfield to destroy the Russian strategic bombers. Okay, so you can also hear like lots of gunfire in the background, them trying to bring these things down. And just to think how far Ukraine is striking into Russia. I mean, none of these air bases are safe anymore. They're going to be completely worried about all these airfields and paranoid on trying to protect them now as Ukraine could carry out this strike again. And just the other day, we reported to you guys that in Vladivostok, far eastern Russia as well, close to like North Korea, there was an explosion that was carried out over there. And Ukraine's, I think it was their SBU or their intelligence service, carried out that strike over there. And we had lots of Russian military equipment and troops being injured, possibly even killed over there in that strike. So, I mean, nowhere in Russia is safe anymore. Ukraine is reaching everywhere without the use of an air force. Now from Slava, Putin has no cards, no planes, no ships. No. Trump pointing the finger. So what Slava's talking about here is the fact that we heard recently from Trump, you know, whenever they were having that meeting at the Oval Office, and then they basically got into a huge heated argument. If you guys remember that a couple months back, Trump told Zelensky that he had no cards. If you guys remember him stating that, you have no cards, that the U.S. holds all the cards here. They're the ones that are going to be able to end this war, not Ukraine. Look at what Ukraine's doing here, guys. I mean, they're doing everything possible with whatever they are able to get their hands on to destroy Russia's military and end this war. I mean, this is just huge, guys. Again, I cannot stress any further. I feel like I'm running out of words to say, but this is just a huge operation that was carried out today. So now for military news UA, Russian men climbed onto a drone truck trying to stop the drones from taking off. So we'll let this one roll for a second as well. Some of these videos are just so long, I don't want to drag this video longer than it needs to be, but I know it will be a longer video today. There's just so much information. But we can see these Russian men trying to jump up on top of the truck over here. It's just a little bit to the right. I apologize, the video is kind of shaky. But they're climbing up here trying to prevent these drones from taking off right here, and then some of the other citizens are throwing something up there. I'm not sure if it's tape or what it is. They're trying to close this thing off so that way these FPV drones cannot deploy. And you can see these trucks were kind of just stationed all over the place to attack the Russian airfields. Now from Ukraine battle map, Russia to ban all truck driving in the country to prevent FPV drone attacks from destroying the entire Russian Air Force. Think about the economic damage behind that as well. Now Russia's going to be paranoid having any truck drivers traveling around their country, and that's very important as well because you need truck drivers to transport product around the nation. You're going to lead to economic collapse if you don't have that, right? I mean, the U.S. was experiencing that at one point just like a year or two ago. Now Russia is going to be paranoid having any of these trucks traveling on the roads. They're going to want to be inspecting all of them and making sure these are not sabotage trucks. Now from NOAA reports, looks like 4 and possibly a 5th strategic bombers are burning at the Belaya Air Base in Irkutsk region. So here's another one coming out. We'll let this one roll too. This is the Belaya Airfield. Also, a really good video coming out showing multiple strategic bombers that could have been destroyed over here as well. I mean, look at the amount of black smoke coming from over there. That's probably all the fuel on board, maybe even the missiles that were being stored on these Tu-95s, Tu-22s, whatever could be stationed over here that were destroyed also at the same time. Insane information coming out today. So let's move on to another one now from Nexta. The show goes on. Powerful explosion reported in Severomorsk, home to Russia's nuclear submarine fleet. Local sources report a strong blast in Severomorsk, one of the key cities for the Russian Navy, where nuclear-armed submarines are maintained and based. Take a look at this video, guys, coming out from Murmansk region in the city of Severomorsk. Okay, so what this video looks like to me is an ammunition depot that was detonated. Now, what was being stored over here, we don't really know. But again, we know this is part of Russia's nuclear submarine fleet. Okay, so could we have had a nuclear submarine being destroyed over here? I guess we're about to find out very soon. But otherwise, looks like potentially an ammunition depot there. Now for Megatron Ron breaking. Ukraine carried out 4 bombings on civilian trains in Russia yesterday, 1 in Kursk, 2 in Bryansk, and 1 in Melitopol. The explosives were placed on bridges, and the perpetrators waited for the moment when the train would reach the bridge. Multiple dead and injured. Okay, so this is video coming out showing this train that derailed, and bridges were collapsing over here. These train tracks were being destroyed, trains derailing. I mean, this is up in the Kursk and Bryansk region, okay, just north of the border of Ukraine. And we know that in the Kursk and Bryansk region, the Russians are stationed over there preparing for a massive attack, basically have already launched their offensive. We know for sure in the Sumy region of Ukraine, they're being attacked heavily over there right now. So this might be to prevent a lot of the logistics moving around in the Bryansk and Kursk regions. So crazy video coming out right here. We'll move on to another one. Igor Sushko, Russia reported sabotage of a bridge causing train derailment in Kursk region just hours after the bridge collapsed in Bryansk region. So look at this video here, guys. Crazy. This might be that same train we were just looking at as this bridge collapsed and caused the derailment of this train that looks like it was transporting some sort of cargo, maybe even military hardware, who knows. Now from Igor Sushko again, Ukraine's GUR military intelligence blew up a Russian military fuel train near Melitopol en route to occupied Crimea on the night of May 31st. Okay, so the city of Melitopol, right down here close to Crimea, okay? I think this should be like the Zaparitzia region. And Ukraine allegedly blew up another train, okay, a fuel train near Melitopol that was en route to occupied Crimea, and they destroyed this on May 31st. So just over the last 24 hours, okay, is when this took place. So all these train derailments, looks like at least 4 trains being derailed or destroyed over the last 24 hours is what's according to this information here. Now from Ilya Ponomarenko. This is what happens when a proud nation under attack doesn't listen to all those. Ukraine only has 6 months left. You have no cards. Just surrender for peace. Russia can't lose. Surrender or it will get worse. Or instead, find ways to fight back and win to survive. Once again, resisting the aggressor works. Standing in for what is right works. Helping Ukraine defeat and deter the aggressor works. Yeah, so I have to agree with that, guys. And Ukraine is standing up against all those statements coming out that Ukraine is not going to win this war, that, you know, they have no cards. Trump told Zelensky that numerous times. I mean, Ukraine is doing whatever they can, and I've told you guys this numerous times. Ukraine does whatever they can to utilize their drones, and they're massively innovating them every single day, creating all these different types of strike drones and drone carriers and whatnot. And they're becoming so innovative to the point that if this war carries on even further and Russia doesn't keep up with how innovative Ukraine is becoming, Ukraine will get stronger and stronger. And we're seeing that every single day. Now, from NOAA reports, Russian media reports an emergency meeting is underway in the Kremlin following Ukraine's massive drone strike on key strategic aviation airfields. Yeah, so apparently a picture coming out from the Kremlin, and looks like Vladimir Putin had to hold an emergency meeting due to all these strikes on their airfields, as potentially 1/3 or more of their strategic aviation bomber units have been destroyed. Insane news. Now, for NOAA reports, talks between Ukraine and Russia are scheduled for tomorrow at 1300 hours at the, I don't know how to pronounce this, but I'm going to try my best, Sirigan Palace in Istanbul, according to Russian media, citing a source from the Turkish Foreign Ministry. So yeah, allegedly Ukraine and Russia are going to be talking tomorrow. Think about this strike happening right before Ukraine and Russia negotiate tomorrow. Russia's not going to have as many cards to play here in Ukraine, now destroying a large percentage of their strategic bomber fleet. They're going to have an upper hand here and a leverage in these talks tomorrow. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. I hope we don't have a massive fight breaking out or something. So it's going to be interesting what happens tomorrow. Now, from Liskovka, a Russia delegation has already left for Istanbul for a new round of talks with Ukraine, according to Russian media. So apparently the Russian delegation already took off. They're on their way to Istanbul. That's what that's talking about there. Now, from Liskovka, meanwhile, Zelensky has changed the composition of the delegation that will travel to Istanbul. This time, the representative of the General Staff, Alexei Malavatsky, will not participate in the talks. However, the delegation will have two new members, Yuri Kovbasa, representative of the Ukrainian Parliamentary Commissioner for Human Rights, Yevhen Ostroyansky, Deputy Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. So it looks like Ukraine is shifting around some of the representatives that are going to be there tomorrow. So that's some information here coming out showing this delegation is going to be changing a little bit. But apparently Rustem Umerov, I think, should be heading the delegation again, just like we saw a few weeks back. Now, from Liskovka, Ukrainian delegation to Istanbul will be headed by Defense Minister Umerov. There's that information I just talked about right there. This was according to Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. According to the president, Ukraine will defend 3 points at the talks: full and unconditional ceasefire, release of prisoners, and return of abducted children. So apparently that's part of the major talks that will be ongoing tomorrow. I've got more information today coming out regarding Ukraine's memorandum. Here's that right here. Vicegrad 24, Reuters reports that Ukraine has presented its peace negotiation memo to guide the peace talks with Russia and Istanbul. So here's some of the main points that Ukraine's going to be asking for. They want a 30-day full ceasefire, all-for-all prisoner war exchange, Zelensky-Putin meeting, no limits on Ukrainian forces, no recognition of Russian territorial gains, Russian reparations payments, talks to start from current front line. Russia promised the U.S. to present its peace negotiation memo before negotiations start tomorrow, but never did so. Yeah, we're still waiting on the Russians to do that, but looks like they're not going to. They're going to wait until tomorrow to present their memo, the memorandum on peace negotiations that, some of their demands, basically, they're going to be requesting. But these are Ukraine's demands. A lot of these, we've heard of them already. And a large one here, they apparently want Zelensky and Putin to meet. So let's see what happens with that. It looks like Putin's still not really open to doing that. We've been hearing that the Kremlin is reportedly open in principle to having Putin meeting directly with Zelensky and Trump, but they have not agreed to it outright yet. Now for Megatron Ron breaking, Trump was notified in advance of the massive drone strike on Russian bases, according to Axios. This explains what Trump wanted to say a couple days ago. Yeah, if you guys remember the statement from Trump here, what Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. And I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. Yeah, so it makes you wonder if that's what Trump was stating here, is if Trump knew about this prior to this attack being carried out. Maybe he was like, yep, go ahead and do it. Putin is not willing to negotiate, so let's give him a reason to negotiate. Let's hammer his strategic, bomber fleet. So maybe that could have been the case, but I will let you know there's also a lot of conflicting reports today stating, like CBS News was reporting, that the White House was not aware of this strike that was going to be carried out prior to Ukraine, carrying out this operation. So Who knows what's going to happen here? I guess we'll find out soon from the White House. We'll wait for an official statement if they say that they knew about this prior to the attack being carried out or not. But a lot of, back and forth when it comes to this, so we don't know for sure yet. Now from Ukrainian Review, Russia's hit Zaparitzia with at least 7 shaheeds. 3 people injured, critical infrastructure facilities, 3 apartment buildings, 29 private homes damaged, according to the OVA. That's the regional administration in that area in Zaparitzia, okay? And it says, in Lazova, Kharkiv region, 45-year-old woman was injured. In Bila district, 10 private homes were damaged. Bilorod, Nistrovsky, private homes and a recreation center were damaged. So we did have a lot of drones going into Ukraine last night. Just a quick update to let you guys know what happened to Ukraine. Look at all the damage here from all these drones being fired from the Russians yesterday. And yeah, a lot of drones going in there. We've got these updates for you guys right now, actually. So from Liskovka, a new anti-record tonight. Russia launched 472 drones at Ukraine, according to Ukrainian Air Force. In addition, the enemy used 3 ballistic missiles, 4 cruise missiles. Air Defense Forces neutralized 210 enemy UAVs, shot down 3 cruise missiles. Another 172 drones were lost, suppressed by electronic warfare. Okay, so massive attack on Ukraine last night. One of the largest in terms of drones, guys. 472 drones, including missiles, going into Ukraine. Looks like they brought down a good majority of them, but nonetheless, some damage reported in Ukraine overnight. So while Russia's launching this massive attack onto Ukraine, soon after, earlier this morning, Ukraine had decided to attack Russian airfields. So now our final updates of the day, guys. The Kyiv Independent. These are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of June 1st, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. In our final update, Russia's losses as of June 1st, 1,230 troops, 4 AFVs, 127 vehicles and fuel tanks, 5 tanks, 52 artillery systems, 151 UAVs, 1 MLRS, 3 cruise missiles, and 1 special equipment. Okay, so you can see here about average numbers again. Not a whole lot here in terms of destruction on equipment on the Russian side, but by tomorrow we'll be seeing this number jumping up here to at least 41 if it happens to be officially confirmed. But a lot of the reports coming out today state more than 40 planes either hit or destroyed today in these attacks. So crazy information coming out today, guys. I'm going to continue to follow this story. I'm sure things will develop even further. We'll get more information, probably satellite images here soon as well, showing the destruction of these planes at these airfields. So we're going to have a lot to talk about this week. It's going to be a very interesting week as we go into these talks with Russia and Ukraine, and I'm very curious to see how things are going to play out. But otherwise, expect the Russians to launch some sort of major attack soon. So let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.